There are a lot of different ways to program a CNC lathe. I'm going to show you one way that might be good for someone who's just learning how to program and learning G-code. So this video, I'm not going to talk about how to touch off a tool, and I'm not going to talk about how to set your origin. I cover that in one of my other videos, so I'm going to assume that you already know how to do that. I'm going to skip right to the programming part. So Mach3 is the PC-based CNC control software that I think most people use on their CNC conversions. It's what I'm using. And one of the really cool things in Mach3 is the wizards. And I'm just going to go ahead and go to that wizard screen right now. So you can see you get a couple of different options. There's the threading wizard. I'm going to go to the regular turning wizard right now. And please forgive me, I'm trying to use my mouse with my left hand, so I'm a little slow. On the wizard screen, you can see here are a bunch of little interfaces that help you very quickly generate code for a whole variety of manual and or non-manual type of machining operations. So the two basic things you do on a lathe most of the time in manual mode, you turn your face. Well, here you go. We have wizards that help you do that, create that code quickly. You can see all the other types of geometries that we have here in wizard form as well. And some of these things, like the arcs, tapers, things like that, not quite as easy to do manually, but you can do them very quickly in CNC. So let's just look at one of these really quickly. OD turning. So here's the screen. You have sort of this nice little graphical representation. You have all these fields that you can populate with values. Over here you're going to get a graphical display, and down here you're going to see the CNC code. So just for an example, let's just say, X start, let's just say you're using 5/8 of an inch stock. So the X start, that's going to be the diameter of your bar, that's 625. X end, that's the diameter you're going to turn to. In this example, we'll say it's 0.3. Fillet radius, you want a nice fillet in the radius. I did, so I put 0.15 as my fillet value. Z start, that's basically where the tool paths are going to begin. I started at positive 0.03, so my tool paths are going to start 30 thousandths away from the face of my bar. Z end, negative 0.35, so I'm going to turn here, make that shoulder at 0.35 away from the face. Clearance. This is how far you want the tool to retract in between roughing moves. So I have it retracting 25 thou. Roughing feed rate, roughing cutting depth. I'm in aluminum, so I'm going to rough that 8 thou per rev. If your machine is configured, if you don't have a spindle index sensor, you might have to program this in inches per minute, so your value will be much higher. My machine's set up to run inches per rev, so I'm going to move 8 thou per rev for roughing. The depth of cut is going to be 20 thou, and that's 20 thou on a radius. So when you see that in diameter mode, it'll look like 40 thou per cut, but the radius is 20 thou. My finished feed rate is going to be 3 thou per rev, and I'm going to leave 1 thou on to clean it up. So once you've populated all those parameters, you can click Post Code, and there you go. You're going to get a graphical representation of the toolpath, and down here you're going to see the CNC code. And what's really cool is as you roll through that code, you'll see things get highlighted on the screen, so it shows you line by line what your toolpath is doing. So if you don't know anything about CNC programming, this is a great way to learn. This is also a very quick way to generate the CNC code. So once you've done that, I like to press this button, Save Settings. It saves all the values that you populated here. If you hit Save Settings, they'll be there for you the next time you come into the screen. Post code, we already talked about that. It created code. If I go back to main screen, it takes you back to this menu. If I press exit, exit will take me back to my Mach3 menu. And if I go into auto mode and cycle, you can see here we are. It looks like we're ready to go. If I try to run this code, there's going to be one problem. There's some things missing. So if we edit this code, we'll see two real critical things that are missing. First of all, we don't have a WPC, so it doesn't know what the origin is going to be. We need a G54. The other thing that's missing, we don't have any tools called out. So that's easily fixed. I could put a G54 on this line, and I could, put in T0101. Something I like to do, I kind of have some boilerplate code. I call it my safe start code. I'm just going to copy and paste all this stuff. I'm trying to do this left-handed, so please bear with me. Copy, and we'll minimize that. And come over here. And a few character returns. Roll up here. Okay, so that, I'll put this code in the description of this video, but if you look in your Mach3 manual, you can see what all of these G codes do. For me, G95, that puts the machine into inch per rev mode. G54, that's the WPC I'm using to set my origin. I have some spindle command information here. I have my tool call out, and then I have an optional stop. I don't need these two lines anymore. I can delete those. Alright, well, that code is ready to run. So once again, you have a nice graphical representation, everything looks good. Let's go ahead and run that code and see what it looks like. Okay, I just spoke just a little bit too soon. Before we run that code, I'm going to share with you one more little snippet here of boilerplate code that I find really useful. So I'm going to be running this toolpath on bar stock. So sometimes on bar stock, I want to do something like, let's say I'm going to run the same part over and over and over again. You could just throw the piece in the chuck and touch off each time. That's sort of a waste of time. So I like to do something that I call a bump stop. So what I do is I paste this little block of code at the beginning of my program. Just the obligatory save start codes. I'll activate the tool, optional stop, coolant command, which I really don't need that. I could delete that. It doesn't need to be there. What's important is this. I position the tool at X of 0.1, just get it a little bit off center, and Z of 0.005, and I throw out an optional stop. So what will happen, the tool comes up to Z of 0.005, then optional stop. At that point, I can gently slide the bar up and touch the tip of the tool very carefully without chipping it. Just snug the chuck. Then I press cycle start. The tool moves to 1 inch, it moves away. And then I really tighten the tool or the chuck after that, and then I'm ready to run my program. So I'm going to incorporate that into this program as well. I'm going to press cycle start, and fires up tool 1 MOO. That's great. Now I'm going to let it position that tool. Okay, so just put that tool at X of 0.1, Z of 0.005. So I'm going to slide my stock out, and very carefully, let me just get this chuck a little closer to where I want it to be. So just snug it up. Okay, so it's touching the tool. I'm not going to tighten it up 100%. I'm going to hit cycle start again. Now the tool backs away, goes to 0.1 inch. Now I'm going to tighten my jaws. Good. Now the tool's here at the next optional stop, so the lathe thinks it should be running 700 RPM. So I'm going to fire it up to about 700 RPM. There we go. And we're going to let it rip. See what happens. There you go, end of the program. So, not too shabby, gotta have decent surface finish on that. I'm pretty happy with that. So, okay, now that we covered turning, let's talk really quick about facing. One more example here, how to use the Wizards in Mach 3. So the facing window is very similar to the last window. You have some options here though, and a little note down at the bottom. It says if X start is less than X end for center to edge facing, or X start is greater than X end for edge to center facing. That's what I have here. My X start is 2 inches, my X end is 0 inches. The reason why that's the case is I have this part here. I already have half of it machined, and what I want to do is face off this chunk that's on the back of it. So this piece is 2 inches, and that's what we have here. So I'm going to start at X start is positive 2 inches, X end is 0, plunge feed is 3 thou, the Z end you can see is at 0, Z start is at 0.140 positive, because I have about 140 thou material that I need to face off of this thing. Z clearance is 20 thou, that's how far it's going to retract in between cuts. The roughing feed rate is going to be 4.5 thou, per rev. Roughing depth of cut is 15 thou. So the clearance has to be greater than the depth of cut, if not you'll get an alarm. Then I have a finish move. The finish feed rate is going to be 3 thou, the finish cut is going to be 1 thou. And if I post code, there we go. We have the G code, we have the toolpath, and once again if I scroll through that toolpath, Mach will show you all the moves. So that's pretty cool, really quickly. So I'm going to go, this time I'm just going to click exit to go right back to the Mach cycle screen. So basically now what you can do is you can use these wizards to just slowly keep putting together pieces of your program, and you know, keep cutting and pasting, you know, until you get all the geometry that you need. So I hope that was helpful. Once again, this is done with the CNC conversion kit that I've designed, and hopefully we'll be having a lot of these things to sell here in the near future. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.